So yeah, as you said, my name is Blake. I'm a programs lead at the DMZ. And going through these slides. So what the DMZ is it's a world-leading tech accelerator. We work with entrepreneurs to really scale their businesses. We work across industries, whether it be healthcare, fintech, real estate, mainly in business-to-business software as a service, because of the mentors we have and the services we have. But increasingly, we're seeing kind of different business models of B2C, marketplaces, hardware. So really anything that is kind of innovative technologies. If you guys kind of want the business and the scaling resources, we're here to help. I think one of the big differences between us and other accelerators you might hear of, like Techstars or Y Combinator, is that we're a nonprofit and we don't take any equity. So what that means is it's just a desk space fee associated with kind of what we're working on and the resources we have. Yeah, we don't take any part of your company. That said, we don't have money to give, so we're a little different that way. But we do have access to a pool of investors and connections to help you guys out if you're raising money. All right, and I think the goal of what we're trying to do, the value proposition, is as you guys come into the DMZ, we're trying to create the playbook for startup growth. So as you exit the DMZ, what that means is you have a repeatable, process-oriented way of getting to your next milestone. For instance, if you're saying, I need to go to $1 million in sales, what are the activities that I need to get there? What are the metrics we need to keep in place? Really a good process to really understand how to scale the business to hit the next milestone. So if you look at kind of our impact to date, we've had over 420 companies come through the space, and cumulatively our alumni and current companies have raised over $600 million, creating almost 4,000 jobs. So it's something that we're really proud of. And just to give you an example of some of the success stories you may have heard of, we've been around for about 10 years now. So we have guys like Sensible, who's digitized receipt management. They just raised a $41 million Series B. They're working with a lot of the big 5 banks in Canada. They're doing really well. And I think Borrowell there on the end too is one that I want to highlight because they came through the space and they also just raised their $20 million Series B. And so one thing with Borrowell I want to highlight, and one thing that we're always encouraging with our founders, is outside of the business success you guys are having and what we want to promote, it's really the culture and the type of team that we want you to build as well. Borrowell has about 80 people now. Culture, they say 50% of their team identifies as women, 50% identifies as men. And I think it's a good example of where we want to go to create a more inclusive and diverse culture for any founder and any startup. So it's something with our mentors that we have executive coaches, talent coaches. It's something that we like to see. So to give you an example of how we got here, is in 2010 we started as the digital media zone at Ryerson. So we are housed at Ryerson University, and we were just for Ryerson students at the time. There's 2 students that came to the president and said, we want to build a digital media company. We need a place to do this. So he said, great, that sounds great. I'll just put a co-working space together and you guys can work out of there. What we've done over time is evolve to rebrand just as the DMZ. So kind of not only digital media, but any kind of company that's going through. And we're much more than a co-working space now. We're access to mentors, workshops, sales peer-to-peer groups, really anything you guys need to scale the business. And with that said, starting at Ryerson, still being in Ryerson, we've evolved to now work with entrepreneurs who are not only Ryerson students, but Ryerson alum, anybody really in Toronto, Canada, and worldwide. So we're still firmly at Ryerson, but we really help any entrepreneur. And these are Michael and Thiago. Those are the 2 guys that kind of sparked this whole journey. And when it says zone learning, one thing I want to highlight is the DMZ is one of 10 zones at Ryerson. We have 9 other zones that kind of have their own focal point. So legal innovation zone would be where we have like legal tech startups if you're in law and building a legal startup. Social venture zone, kind of social enterprise. Biomedical, it's healthcare. So for any Ryerson student or any entrepreneur that wants the resources and specific kind of niche resources to get access to, we have this zone network now. So how do we work? So at the DMZ, what we do is we have now 3 programs. I work with the latest stage program, so that is $20,000 of monthly recurring revenue and above. These are businesses that may have raised some money already or are looking to probably raise a seed round or post-seed. But what we've done to really get businesses to that is create 2 new programs in the last year structured. The DMZ Sandbox, which is a minimum viable product kind of ideation stage, pre-revenue, to get kind of your legs off the ground, and then Validator, which is kind of that middle ground where you probably have like a problem solution fit, you have a couple customers, and then you're kind of working towards the accelerator where you kind of find that product market fit. So kind of for any stage of company that you're at, we have kind of the resources and the programs to help you guys out. And just to quickly go over our core offerings, I think first and foremost, it's definitely down to coaching. We spend a lot of time trying to find industry experts from around Toronto and outside of Toronto in all different areas. So sales, marketing, product, operations, talent, to really help any company out. And depending on the program you're in, you're going to meet with these guys on a weekly, bi-weekly, ad hoc basis. And what they are is they're really executives to come and almost join your company for the amount of time that you're at the DMZ to help you through these scaling issues. You know, I think it's pretty cool when you're trying to start a sales organization or start running sales at your startup, and you can talk to somebody who has been in sales for 20 years at a startup and has built these over and over again and can help you guys out. So customers as well. So, you know, we've been around for a while, so relationships with all the big banks, telcos, everything like that. So if you're in the space and it makes sense, we can always make an introduction. Capital. So as I said, we don't give capital, but we have a network of over 300 investors and VCs that come into the space through office hours, through introductions, to meet with the startups on a weekly basis and make those introductions to try to help you raise that capital. And we have a team, a fundraising mentorship team that can help you, you know, pitch deck, cap table, anything like that to get you ready for that kind of stuff. And then lastly, just community. I think, you know, at any point in time, we have over 60 to 70 startups in this space. One thing that I'm sure you guys have found is if you're building a company or anything like that, it always helps when you're with people that are doing the same thing or maybe even like a month ahead of you, because you're saying, you know, I have to hire somebody, how does that work? And they've done it just, you know, they just hired somebody, so they've been through the process, they put that in place. So I think relying on the community is a really cool part of it too. One thing I wanted to mention is Sandbox is definitely our earliest stage program where we have companies come into the space, work out of the space, but Sandbox also has some programs specifically for students. A couple that I wanted to highlight here, at least one, was the Basecamp program, which is actually happening right now. It happens every summer, and what it is it's an opportunity for high school and university students, 2 cohorts, to come to the DMZ and for a period of a month, go through intensive workshops, innovation tours, so they come to like Google and other offices, and then at the end of the month, they have an opportunity to pitch for $5,000 in prize money to kind of accelerate their business. So for that, we're looking at students kind of at an ideation stage and just kind of starting the journey, and that happens every summer. So I guess the next one will be probably next summer. And so that's about it. Just a couple thoughts. If you want to connect any of our programs, the Sandbox and the Validator program are rolling applications, so they're always open. So that's on the website as well. The accelerator program happens 3 times a year, January, May, and September. And everything's on the website there. DMZ Insiders is our newsletter. It's kind of goes out so you can keep involved in the community. That's also kind of on our website. And then just any social media channels. We're always kind of posting things on Twitter, Instagram, anything like that. And yeah, I would love to just stay connected if you guys are kind of working on some stuff. But with that, I guess I can just open it up to questions if you guys have any.